All right, Chipola Nation, we're here with Coach Brendan Foley. How you doing, Coach?
Good, how are you?
All right, of the Chipola Indians men's basketball team. Coach, we want to talk a little bit today about some of the specifics of basketball. I know you've studied the game for a long time. You know, you played the game. You've coached at a lot of different levels. And I just want to start out with, how is it possible to get more shots than your opponent?
I think the most obvious is out-rebound them, create second chance opportunities, and force more turnovers, create more possessions for your team. But in doing that is challenging and buying into doing that and playing at a high rate and with high motors. And I mean, obviously, rebounding it's a will. It's something you have to want to do, and by doing that, that's I think the easiest and best way to create more opportunities.
Okay. All right. How can you improve your team's shooting percentage? Do you have a plan for that?
Recruit better players.
Okay, that helps, doesn't it?
You know, I think it's there's never enough time during practice to get them enough shots. So I encourage them to get in here as much on their own. We have shooting machines. We have the resources available for them. It's repetitions, and it starts in the summer. It starts in the off season. How much they're willing to work. I mean, shooters aren't made overnight, and I think, you know, with every great shooter, there's no mystery. It's repetitions and countless hours in the gym. So I encourage them to try and be in here as much as possible. My assistants are great. They're in here with them, getting them extra shots in between classes, in the morning, at night. So they've kind of bought into that, and I think it'll pay off. Usually the guys that are in the gym more and get more shots are the guys that are shooting at a little bit higher percentage.
Really?
It's amazing how that works.
So even if you're good, if you work harder, you're probably going to do a little better than the next guy.
I mean, just rep after rep after rep. I mean, going back to last year, it was no mystery that, you know, Brandon Mahan shot 50% from three, but he was in here more than anybody.
Wow.
And he lived in this place, and it's paid off.
Yeah, that's great. Okay. All right, so we talked about offense. How can you lower your opponent's shooting percentage?
You know, it's just our strategic game plan, what we're going to, our principles. You know, obviously want to protect the paint. Obviously, those are the high percentage shots. So getting them to buy into a culture of contested shots, you know, and it starts with, you know, the guys we have on our team. We're long, we're athletic, we're rangy. We can create teams to settle for shots like that by guarding the ball, protecting that paint, and forcing them to shoot long contested shots. That's what I tell them in practice every day. You know, teams are going to make them here and there, but can they do it consistently and beat us? I don't think. It's a hard thing to do.
Yeah. Okay.
They're lower percentage shots.
Cool. All right. How can you teach more life lessons to your players?
You know, it's teaching. It's every day. You know, there's always something with life lessons with them. You know, starting with basic foundation teamwork. You know, whatever they do in life, they're gonna have to work well with others, and that's the main thing that you start with. I think, you know, the other things are discipline, being on time, being accountable, all those things that every team preaches, and living by those codes and staying true to those, and making sure that that our kids are always aware of those and held accountable for those.
Right. I want to talk about motivation a little bit. Obviously, the great Coach Milton Johnson, I was sitting in on an interview one time, and somebody said it doesn't matter if you win or lose, it matters how you play the game. And he said, but, you know, I always found it interesting that there's a scoreboard up there. So winning is obviously the motivation for you and for your players. But what are some other motivations that you try to instill in your players, in your team, in addition to just winning?
Just getting better every day. I think that's what it's all about, and that's what I've kind of tried to put in their minds. It's a process. It doesn't happen overnight, but if they can gradually get better each and every day, move forward and progress forward and take steps forward and not backwards, then they're getting better, and hopefully that motivates them. And this is the hardest part of the year. We're going against each other and we're beating up on each other every day, but hopefully seeing the results will help that. And then right now it's a different time because it starts evaluation period, and there's schools in our gym, and they get to get recruited. So hopefully that kind of refreshes their mind what they're working for to get to that next level. So there's always a way to motivate them. And then when you get through that, then you start getting into October and you get to jamborees, and you can kind of see where you're at with other teams. And then that month flies, and then all of a sudden you're here for games. So it's constant motivation, just finding ways to keep them fresh, their minds fresh, and challenge
Right.
them about what's about getting better, and,
Right.
and as a team, individually, and just constantly, use ways to motivate them.
Right. I want to talk to you about something that, I'm not a coach, but I think this is probably one of the biggest challenges that a coach at this level would have. Pretty much every player on your team was probably the star at their high school, or even if they transferred from another college, they may have been a star there.
Yeah.
So how do you deal with 12, 14 guys who were probably the leading scorer or the leading rebounder in every game they've ever played in? How do you make that work together as a team?
It's a challenge, obviously. There's obviously, there's different ways to do it. I've told them in the past, why do kids go to Kentucky? Because they have 7, 8 guys get drafted every year. It's
Yeah.
like, well, why do you come to Chipola?
Uh-huh.
Because everyone wants to get to that next level, to that D1 level. Well,
Right.
I try and, a star on another team may average 25, but if you average 10 or 12 at Chipola,
Uh-huh.
then that's, equivalent to that. It's, if everyone's doing their part and balanced, then everyone's going to get what they want out of it.
Right.
And that's kind of what I just try and break it down to them so they understand that,
Uh-huh.
and just see that if other teams are doing it, then why can't we do it?
Right.
The year Kentucky won it with Anthony Davis, they won the national championship. I think they had 6 or 7 guys average from like 9 points to 16 points.
Uh-huh.
And that's what I tell them. That's what a good college basketball team should have.
Right.
It's not all about just one guy. It's
Uh-huh.
it's everyone on your team. All your brothers have to be doing their part. And
Right.
we have many different weapons, and we have a lot of different talented guys.
Uh-huh.
They all bring something different to the table. And, it's like it all goes back to teamwork again.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of...
A rising tide lifts all boats.
Right.
If we can work together, then we're probably, each individual player is probably
Right.
going to get seen more.
Right,
So-
and it's like I told him yesterday in practice. It's funny you brought that up because I talked about the Golden State Warriors.
Uh-huh.
They have 3 or 4 of the best individual players in the world, and if they can share the ball, and
Yeah,
those
and
guys,
they do.
yeah, and they move the ball and make extra passes, and why can't we?
Exactly.
And it's so, it's always finding ways to be creative and break it down to them so they can
Right.
see it in reality and understand it.
Okay. We're planning a jamboree October 7th, and that one's in Tallahassee. Okay. And now, so who all will be at that Tallahassee jamboree?
I think there's 18 to 20 teams. There's a variety from Florida.
Okay.
I want to say there's some schools from Georgia, Alabama, South Carolina. So
But the Panhandle Conference, all the teams from the Panhandle
I
Conference will be
believe
there?
so.
Okay.
I believe so. If
Okay.
not, majority of them will be
Okay.
there.
All right.
Mhm.
And now, what kind of arrangement is that? Do you play quarters or halves, or what do you play?
It's 2 22-minute, I believe, running halves, and
Okay.
you play three games that
Okay.
day.
All right. So you'll get to run a lot of players in and out.
Right.
Get a good
Yeah.
look at everybody.
Yep.
Okay.
Did mixed lineups,
Okay.
kind of
All right.
mixed guys.
And then October 13th, you're headed to
Orlando.
Okay.
Yep.
For the same kind of.
Same type of deal, yeah.
Okay.
Same type of deal. It's a little more unique down there because they have junior colleges and prep schools. The junior college scene, it's a little bit more widespread across the U.S. They have teams from, I think, Texas, Iowa, North Carolina. They have teams from all over that come down. So it's good. And then you can do some recruiting down there, seeing the prep school scene, and see some high school kids down there.
Right.
But for our guys, it's nice because from a recruiting standpoint, the recruiters can come down there and see all the good prep schools, all the good junior college under one roof.
Okay.
So it's really good event.
Okay. And then November 2nd and 3rd, first game here in the Milt. Who all's coming in for that?
We'll have Georgia Highlands. Obviously, they're one of the premier teams in Georgia.
Uh-huh.
Miami-Dade's coming up from, obviously, South Florida. They have a great program. And then Enterprise from down the road is going to be here. So
Okay. All right.
it'll be 4 good Division I junior college basketball teams, a lot of good basketball.
Okay.
Our women's team's playing, so we're looking forward to having both teams in the same court.
Will some Panhandle opponents be in the gym on that weekend?
I'm not sure.
Okay. But how many games do you think we're going to play on November 2nd and 3rd? How many men's and women's games?
There'll be 4 each.
Okay. So
Yeah,
eight
so 8 games.
Eight games.
Yep.
Okay. So a
In
big
2 days, yeah.
big weekend of
Yeah.
basketball. Okay. Have you got everybody in so far? Or are you still waiting on a player or two?
My last 2 will be here this week.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So we're excited. We're banged up. I'm sure everybody knows.
Yeah.
Going through practice and workouts with 8 guys isn't fun, but better now than later.
Yeah. So
And
you're looking
add
forward to
some-
going 5-on-5 here pretty soon.
Yeah, just and getting guys, those guys new reps, and then guys
Right.
that are beat up can get a little bit more of a break in practice. So
Right.
it'll be nice to just have some more depth.
Okay. So here we are. We're the middle of September, and just a few more weeks, and we'll be playing basketball right here in the Milton Johnson Center. And we're glad to be here with Coach Brendan Foley today. Coach, good
Thanks
luck.
for having me on.
Thanks.
Thanks.